The fork clinks against crystal, and the whole private room goes quiet, like someone pulled a plug. My father-in-law, Victor, stands up in his tailored navy suit, smile sharpened to a blade, and lifts his glass toward me like he's about to do me a favor. "Before dessert," he says, loud enough for the two servers to pause at the doorway. "I want to thank everyone for supporting our daughter while she navigates her current situation." My wife, Layla, freezes beside me. Her hand is on my knee under the table, but it's gone stiff, fingers digging in like she's trying to anchor herself. Victor keeps going. He gestures at me with the same casual pity he uses when he talks about broken appliances. "Some people marry for love," he says, chuckling, "and some people marry into reality. So we've decided to step in and help with the rent. Again." He nods toward his wife, Marianne, who slides a thick envelope onto the table in front of Layla, like she's giving her a scholarship. A couple of cousins laugh. Not loud. The kind of laugh people do when they don't want to be the odd one out. Layla's brother, Nico, lifts his phone, already filming. Because humiliating someone is content in this family. Victor raises his glass higher. "To Layla," he says. "May she never have to carry the broke one." The words land like a slap. I feel heat crawl up my neck. My mouth goes dry. Across the table, Marianne looks down at her nails like she's above this, like she didn't just co-sign it. Somebody murmurs, "Oh my God," with that fake shocked delight. Layla's eyes flick to mine, and there's panic there. Not anger yet, not relief. Just the look of someone watching a trap close. I don't stand up. I don't throw a drink. I just push my chair back slowly enough that it scrapes the hardwood, and the sound makes everyone look at me. Victor's smile widens, like he thinks I'm about to beg him to stop. Then Layla's phone lights up on the table, vibrating hard against the linen. The caller ID says, "Riverstone Property MGMT," and for a second, nobody breathes. The timing is so perfect it's almost funny. Layla lunges for it. Victor's hand lands over hers first. "Oh, sweetheart," he says, loudly, squeezing like he's comforting her. "Give it to me. I'll handle it." He glances around at the room, performing. "This is exactly what I mean. Stress isn't good for you." I watch his thumb swipe to answer. I watch him put the call on speaker without even asking. Of course he does. He wants witnesses. A woman's voice fills the room, crisp and professional. "Hi, Layla Hassan? This is Denise from Riverstone. I'm calling regarding your unit. Your rent payment didn't go through, and we need to resolve it tonight to avoid an overdue notice on the account." Every single head turns toward me, like the rent is my job to be embarrassed about. Victor lifts his brows at me, triumphant. "There you go," he says. Sweet as poison. Into the phone he says, "Hello, Denise. This is her father. We'll take care of it. My daughter is married to—" He pauses, like he's searching for my name in his own head. A nice young man, but the finances can be complicated. I feel Layla's fingers tremble against my knee now, barely touching, like she's afraid I'll stand up and set the table on fire. Denise, still on speaker, says, "Sir, the account history shows the payments usually come from the same sender, and today the transfer was rejected by the bank. We just need authorization to rerun it." Victor's smile twitches. "The same sender?" he repeats. I pull my wallet out calmly and slide my card holder onto the table. Not to pay. To buy myself 2 seconds. I lean forward and say, very evenly, "Denise, it's Sam. Don't rerun anything." Layla's head snaps toward me so fast her earrings swing. Victor's face hardens. "Excuse me?" he says, still gripping Layla's phone. I keep my eyes on the phone like it's a courtroom mic. "I'm the sender," I say. "I've been the sender. The bank flagged my account because someone tried to log in from an unfamiliar device this afternoon. It froze outgoing transfers. I already cleared it. I'll push the payment again in 5 minutes." The room makes this tiny collective sound, like a chair leg slipping. Victor blinks once. "You?" he says, and there's real confusion there, like he's trying to do the math and it's insulting him. Marianne's head lifts slowly from her nails. Nico stops filming for half a second, then starts again like the plot just improved. I open my banking app, thumb steady. I don't look at Victor when I say it, because I know if I look at him I'll finally explode. "Also," I add, "since you're all so invested in Layla's rent, I'm going to correct something." I tap my screen. Then I reach across the table and turn my phone so they can see it. A clean list of monthly transfers labeled Riverstone Rent, stretching back, line after line, for 2 years. Victor's mouth opens slightly. No sound comes out at first. Layla whispers, "Sam," like she's begging me to stop, but I can't stop now. The room is already recording. The family group chat is going to melt down whether I speak or not. I'd rather it melt down with the truth. I look straight at Victor and say, "You've called me the broke one for 3 years, while I've been paying your daughter's rent every single month, secretly, because she asked me to." Silence hits like a door slamming. Then Denise's voice comes back, awkward now, like she regrets being alive. Should I call back?" "No," I say, without looking away from Victor. "You're fine. I'll handle it. Thank you." Victor slowly lowers the phone from his mouth. His face is pale under the warm restaurant lighting, like all the blood ran to his ego. "That's not possible," he says. But it's not denial. It's disbelief. Like the world violated his rules. Nico, still filming, mutters, "Holy..." Marianne sits up straighter, eyes snapping between Layla and me, like she's seeing a crack in a painting she paid for. One of the cousins coughs into their napkin. Someone else says very quietly, "Wait. What?" Victor finally finds his voice, and it's sharp. "Layla," he says. "Not my name. Hers. Is this true?" Layla's eyes are glossy. Her jaw is tight. She looks like she wants to disappear, and also like she wants to scream. "Dad," she says, voice small, "don't do this here." "Here?" Victor repeats, incredulous, gesturing at the room. "You mean in front of people? In front of family? This is family." My hand goes to Layla's finally, and this time I hold it. "You made it public when you toasted to me being broke," I say, calm and cold. "So yes, here." And as if the universe wants to keep twisting the knife, my watch buzzes. A notification pops up from our family group chat, because of course there's a group chat, and someone has already posted a screenshot. It's a message Victor sent 6 months ago, the night we couldn't make it to Marianne's birthday dinner, because Layla had food poisoning. Victor, tell Sam the broke one can stay home. Layla will always have us when she's tired of pretending. It's in the chat now, glowing on multiple screens around the table as people check their phones like moths to a flame. Someone, probably Nico, has reposted it with laughing emojis. I feel Layla's grip tighten like she's trying to stop herself from shaking. I make my bold move without raising my voice. I slide my phone across the table toward Victor and tap the transfer history again. "Look," I say, "and then after you're done looking, you can stop using my wife like a charity case you own." Victor's nostrils flare. He's furious. but he's also trapped by his own audience. He can't laugh it off. He can't call me broke while staring at 2 years of receipts. He can't keep pretending he steps in when the numbers say I already did. Layla's phone buzzes in Victor's hand again. Texts coming in fast, and he doesn't even realize he's still holding it. Marianne reaches over and takes it from him, like he's a child about to drop something valuable. Layla whispers, broken, "I didn't want it like this." I swallow hard. My chest feels tight, not from anger now, from the weight of the thing we've been carrying. "I know," I whisper back, but he wasn't going to stop. To understand why this feels unreal, you need to know what they were saying about me long before tonight. When Layla and I first started dating, her family treated me like a phase she'd outgrow. I wasn't from money. I didn't have the right last name. I didn't talk about investments over dinner. I work in IT. Good job, steady, nothing flashy. The first time I met Victor, he shook my hand like he was checking if I was damp. He asked where I went to school. I told him, proud, because I worked my way through it. He smiled and said, "Oh, that's admirable," the way people say cute. Marianne asked Layla, right in front of me, "Is he ambitious?" Like I wasn't sitting there. Layla laughed nervously and said, "Yes," then squeezed my hand under the table, like she was apologizing without words. At first I tried. I really did. I dressed nicer. I showed up early. I brought wine. I asked Victor about his business. He'd answer with vague, dominant statements like, "We own a few things," and then pivot to asking Layla if she was still playing with her little marketing job in the city. They didn't ask about my work, unless it was to make a joke about fixing their Wi-Fi. The nicknames started at a family barbecue. Nico was telling some story about a guy who couldn't afford to take his girl to Europe, and Victor laughed and said, "Sounds like Sam." I remember the way everyone laughed too fast. Layla's cheeks went red. I smiled like I didn't care, because you don't want to be the boyfriend who can't take a joke. After that, it became a thing. The broke one. Sometimes Budget Sam. Sometimes Sam, our little minimalist. Always said, with that bright, joking tone that gives them plausible deniability. If I looked uncomfortable, Marianne would say, "Oh, don't be sensitive," like sensitivity is a character flaw. Layla hated it. I could tell. She'd snap at them sometimes. "Stop calling him that." And Victor would throw his hands up and say, "It's just humor. He knows we love him." Love. Like a leash. When we got married, it got worse. Their narrative shifted from "he's a phase" to "he's an inconvenience." Victor started framing Layla as someone he needed to rescue from me. He'd offer to pay for things in front of people. He'd hand Layla his card at restaurants and say loudly, "I've got it, sweetheart," while looking at me like I was failing a test. Layla moved into an apartment in the city for her job before we were married, then kept it for a while after because her commute was brutal and my place was farther out. The apartment was decent, nothing fancy, but to her family it became a symbol. Layla's independent city life. Victor loved that story. He'd tell people, "We raised her to stand on her own 2 feet," as if he wasn't still trying to control her from afar. The truth was, she was drowning. Her job paid okay on paper, but the city bled money in slow cuts. Transport, parking fines, groceries, the kind of unexpected costs that don't matter if your parents wire you cash whenever you sigh. Layla didn't want their money, not because she was stubborn for fun, but because their money came with strings. Victor didn't give. He invested. He wanted receipts. He wanted influence. He wanted a say. One night, she called me at midnight, voice small, and said, "I can't make rent." I remember sitting up in bed, heart pounding like I'd done something wrong. "How short are you?" I asked. There was a pause. Then she whispered, "All of it." I drove to her apartment with my laptop, and we opened her bank account and stared at the numbers. She'd been pushing bills around like furniture, moving one payment to make space for another. She'd skipped meals some days, not dramatically, just quietly. She'd told me she was fine, because she didn't want to be another responsibility. I said, "I can cover it." She shook her head so hard her hair fell into her face. "No," she said. "If my dad finds out you're paying my rent, he'll never shut up. He'll use it forever. He'll say I married a charity case and you're trying to buy me." I felt my jaw tighten. "Layla, you're my wife." She looked at me with wet eyes and said, "Please, just don't let them know." So we made a plan. Not a sneaky plan like we were doing something wrong, but a protective plan, like putting a blanket over something fragile. I set up an automatic transfer to Riverstone every month from my account. Layla paid me back when she could, sometimes partially, sometimes not at all. I didn't keep score. I just wanted her safe. I wanted her to have breathing room. I wanted her to feel like our marriage wasn't another cage. And every month, right on schedule, the payment went out. She never missed a month after that. Victor never knew. Which meant he got to keep calling me broke with a grin, and Layla got to keep pretending she was independent the way he liked. It was exhausting, but it was quieter. It kept the peace. Layla called it managing them. I called it surviving. Then the little wins started stacking for us. Layla got a promotion. We started saving. We talked about moving her out of that apartment eventually. I kept paying the rent anyway, because it was easier than watching her panic. It became background noise, until her family made it a sport. They'd make digs in front of friends. "Sam doesn't do fancy. Sam thinks Uber is a luxury." We offered to help Layla with her rent, but, she's trying to prove something. Victor would smirk like he was being generous. I'd smile like I didn't want to throw a plate. And yes, I have receipts. I have every transaction. Not because I wanted to one day slam them down. Because I'm the kind of person who keeps records. Because I learned early that when people want to rewrite you, paper is the only thing that doesn't flinch. The worst part is, Layla's family didn't just mock me. They treated Layla like she was a product they owned. Victor would say things like, "We gave you everything," when what he meant was, "You belong to us." Marianne would warn Layla, "Don't be trapped," when what she meant was, "Don't be loyal to him." There were family dinners where Victor would ask Layla about her job, and then turn to me and say, "How does it feel, watching your wife out-earn you?" Like he was handing me a humiliation gift. There were holidays where Nico would joke about setting up Layla with someone richer. There were nights Layla would come home from seeing them and sit on our couch staring at nothing, and I'd ask, "What did they say?" And she'd shrug like she didn't have the energy to translate poison into words. And somehow, we kept going, quietly, paying rent, building our life, trying not to give her family more ammunition, until tonight. Because Victor didn't just call me broke in private. He stood up in a room full of people and toasted to it. He placed an envelope on the table, like he was rescuing his daughter from me. He answered her rent call on speaker, like he was proving a point. And the universe, my bank's fraud flag, Riverstone calling at the worst possible second, handed him the one thing he can't talk his way out of: proof. After I ended the call with Denise, I pushed the rent payment through again. It went through instantly this time. I watched the confirmation appear and felt this bitter little laugh rise in my throat. 2 years of quiet support, and the first time it becomes real to them is when it embarrasses them. Victor finally spoke again, voice low and shaking with rage. "You think this makes you a man?" he hissed, leaning across the table. "Paying rent behind everyone's back." I didn't raise my voice. I just said, "It makes me a husband." Marianne's lips were pressed into a thin line. She looked at Layla now, not at me. "Layla," she said softly, like she was the reasonable one, "why would you hide something like this from us?" Layla's eyes flashed. "Because you don't help," she said, voice cracking. "You collect. You keep it. You use it." Nico scoffed. "Oh my God," he muttered, still filming. "This is insane." I turned to him and said, "Put your phone down." He laughed like I was joking. Victor barked, "Don't talk to my son like that." I stared at Victor and said, "Then don't talk about my finances like they're entertainment." Someone at the far end of the table, Victor's sister, I think, cleared her throat and said, "Maybe we should all calm down." The classic line. The line people say when they want the person being harmed to stop reacting. Layla stood up then, hands shaking. "I'm leaving," she said, and her voice was small but solid. Marianne reached for her wrist. "Sit down," she whispered sharply, politeness cracking. "Don't cause a scene." Layla pulled her arm back. "You caused the scene," she said, nodding at Victor. "He literally made a toast about my husband being broke." Victor stood too, towering like he could physically block reality. "You're embarrassing us," he snapped, and there it was again. The family religion. Appearances. I felt something settle in me. Not anger anymore. A decision. I slid my chair back, stood beside Layla, and looked around the room at faces that had laughed at me for years. "Here's what's going to happen," I said, calm enough to make the servers pause again. "You're going to stop calling me that. You're going to stop treating Layla like a thing you own, and you're going to stop offering to help in ways that are actually just control." Victor's mouth curled. "Or what?" he said. I picked up my phone, and without breaking eye contact, opened the bank transfer schedule. "Or next month," I said. "The rent autopay is canceled." Layla's head snapped toward me. Shock, then understanding in the same breath. Victor sneered. "So you admit you're holding her housing hostage?" "No," I said. "I'm removing myself from a secret I was carrying to protect her from you." I turned to Layla, softer now. "I'll cover it if you want," I said quietly. "But not like this. Not hidden. Not while they get to spit on me and still benefit." Layla's throat bobbed. She nodded once. Slow, like she was letting go of a coping mechanism that had kept her safe. "Okay," she whispered. Victor looked between us, realizing he wasn't controlling the room anymore. His jaw worked like he was chewing on words. Marianne's eyes were bright with furious tears. Nico muttered something about dramatic and gold digger under his breath. And then, because this family can't just lose, they have to rewrite. The messages started pouring in. By the time we reached the valet stand, Layla's phone was exploding. Victor had already sent a new group chat message. "Sam is manipulating Layla with money. We offered support, and he attacked us." Marianne replied, "We raised her better than this." Nico posted a clip from his recording. cropped, of course, starting right at my phone turned toward Victor's face. Me looking aggressive, not him toasting to my humiliation. Layla stared at the screen, face pale. "He's going to spin it," she whispered. I exhaled slowly. "Let him," I said, and I could hear my own voice sounding different, less eager to fix, more ready to end. In the car, Layla finally cried. Not loud, not dramatic, just tears sliding down her cheeks, while she stared out the window like the city lights were a movie she didn't want to watch. I drove with one hand on the wheel, and one hand hovering near her knee, like I didn't know if touching her would help or make it worse. "I'm sorry," she whispered, and it wasn't just about tonight. It was about years. I swallowed. "I know," I said, "but I can't do another year of being the family joke while secretly paying for the life you built." She nodded, wiping her face. "I didn't want them to win," she whispered. "They already win," I said, and the words tasted bitter. "They win every time you hide something because you're afraid of their reaction. They win every time they call me a name and you have to laugh it off to survive dinner." Layla flinched because it was true. When we got home, I didn't storm around. I didn't slam doors. I sat at the kitchen table, opened my laptop, and pulled up Riverstone's portal. I canceled the autopay. My finger hovered over the confirm button for a second, not because I doubted it, but because I knew pressing it would change the shape of our lives. Layla sat across from me, hands wrapped around a mug she wasn't drinking. "Do it," she said quietly. I clicked confirm. Then I opened the family group chat, not to argue, not to defend, not to beg, and I typed one message, precise as a receipt. "I have paid Layla's rent directly to Riverstone for 24 months. Victor, please stop calling me the broke one. Starting next month, the rent will be handled openly between Layla and whoever she chooses. Do not contact my workplace or my bank information. If you want to discuss this, you can do it with Layla respectfully." I hit send. The typing bubbles erupted instantly. "Victor, how dare you?" "Marianne, you're humiliating our family." "Nico, bro thinks he's a hero." Random cousins chimed in like it was a sport. Someone posted laughing emojis. Someone posted tea gifs. It was disgusting and predictable. Layla's phone rang. "Victor." She stared at it, shaking, then looked at me like she wanted permission to be brave. I said, "You don't have to answer." She declined the call. Victor called again. Layla declined again. Then she blocked him. The silence after that felt like a pressure change, like stepping out of a loud room into night air. A minute later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail, then another unknown number, then another. I didn't have to guess whose friends Victor was using to get around blocks. Layla leaned her head back against the chair and breathed out like she'd been holding her breath for years. "He's going to punish me," she whispered. I nodded. "Maybe," I said, "but he doesn't get to punish me anymore." I opened my contacts, found Victor's number, and blocked it too. Simple. Quiet. Final. Then I did the last thing. The thing that felt like a gut punch and a relief in the same beat. I texted Denise at Riverstone through the portal messaging system and wrote, "Please update the authorized contact on the account to Layla only. Remove my name and email." Because the twist isn't that I paid their daughter's rent while they mocked me. The twist is that I stopped. Not out of spite, out of respect. For myself, for my marriage, for the fact that love isn't supposed to be something you hide like contraband. Layla reached, across the table, took my hand, and said, voice raw, "I choose us." My phone buzzed once more. One final message slipping through before the block fully kicked in. A cousin's screenshot from Victor, sent privately. He'll crawl back. They always do. I stared at it, then turned my phone face down without replying. Because the last beat isn't a speech or a mic drop. It's a declined call, a canceled autopay, and a man who built his ego on calling me broke, realizing he doesn't get a vote in our life anymore.